Speaking of EMF, what do you, you're a big fan, as I am, of magnesium. Where does magnesium fit in all this?
Yeah, that's an interesting one with relation to EMF because we know that a lot of these signals, 3G, 4G, 5G, unfortunately, the testing on that is still kind of, the jury's out. So I can't say much about 5G aside from the fact that it concerns me that it's being rolled out without a lot of adequate testing on these issues. But we know that there's an impact on what are called the voltage-gated calcium channels on the cell surface. And if you go read a book like Jerry Tennant's Healing is Voltage or Robert Becker's The Body Electric, then you know that our cells are almost like little batteries that need an electrochemical balance that dictates a negative millivolt potential on the interior of that cell. And when you have a steep influx of calcium, which we do know occurs based on the activation of these voltage-gated calcium channels in response to EMF, you tend to lose that negative charge. This is one reason why, we tend to see people feel better when they go outside barefoot or do some kind of grounding or earthing. You're getting exposed to a lot of negative ions, walking on the sand, on the beach, swimming in the ocean, walking outside in the forest barefoot, etc. Now, it turns out that one of the best ways to offset that steep influx of calcium into the cell is with magnesium. And considering, based on what I was talking about earlier, the monocropping of soils and the deficient minerals that are present in a lot of plants, many people, if you test the red blood cell magnesium levels, tend to be deficient in magnesium. And I think that's further aggravated by the increasing exposure to EMF. And so I am a fan of magnesium supplementation, or if you have a garden or a backyard patio, even getting some of these mineral dense powders that you can add into the soil so that the produce that you're eating is richer in minerals. And the other two things, if you are really going to kind of try to hack the EMF piece as far as nutrients go, I would also pay attention to anything that's going to assist with DNA repair. And in particular, that would be the 1-2 combo of sirtuins, either via supplements, such as resveratrol, or something I consider to be even better than resveratrol, which would be pterostilbene.
Yeah.
And the inclusion of a lot of these foods like cacao, wine, blueberries, black currant berries, anything in kind of like the black, blue, dark red, purplish kind of category for the sirtuins is going to be very important for the DNA damage that occurs in response to a lot of that electromagnetic radiation. And the sirtuins are really going to be dependent upon your NAD status. And so a practice of things like intermittent fasting or a high intake of fermented foods, that's going to assist with the levels of what's called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which is really important and tends to decrease as you age. Kind of similar to the way that your available stem cell pool will decrease as you age, so will your available NAD levels. We know this. And supplementation with nicotinamide riboside or NMN, or even the use of NAD IVs or NAD patches, along with fermented foods and intermittent fasting, well, you pair that with a sirtuin-rich diet or with sirtuin supplements, and you're really set up to help to repair a lot of the DNA damage that's going to occur with aging, but that will be accelerated due to EMF exposure. And then the last thing, in addition to magnesium, sirtuins, and NAD that I would pay attention to would be the NF-kappa B pathway is an inflammation modulating pathway that tends to be downregulated in response to EMFs. And one of the best ways to keep that pathway activated is by the burning of ketone bodies. And mitigation of carbohydrate intake, or paying attention to the amount that your blood glucose fluctuates during the day, I think that's important for everybody, right? Like keeping your glycemic variability under control, meaning the extent to which and the amount of time to which your blood glucose is staying elevated during the day. If that's staying low, you are, by nature of that fat, going to be burning more fatty acids and producing more ketone bodies as a product of that low carbohydrate availability. But in addition to that, I even think if you're living in an EMF soup in a high EMF environment, you may even want to consider the use of these supplements like ketone salts and ketone esters to help with those inflammatory pathways. And, while those are not daily dietary staples for me, when I'm doing like a long haul flight or I'm, traveling through LA or New York or some other area where there's a lot more EMF, I actually supplement with liquid ketone esters just to help with that inflammatory pathway. So yeah, magnesium, sirtuins, NAD, and ketones, I would say are the best kind of dietary or nutrient or supplementation steps you can take to help to protect yourself from